All right, let me start with a question. And it might feel a little intrusive.
Okay, I'm ready.
If I were to look at the date of birth on your driver's license right now, would I be looking at a lie?
Huh. That is a provocative way to start. But, from a biological standpoint,
Yeah.
it's almost certainly a lie.
Because we think of aging as this
Okay.
this single thing, right?
Mm.
Like a car that just gets rusty all over at the same time. But the research we're looking at today suggests that's completely wrong.
It is. The rust doesn't spread evenly at all. You could have the heart of a 40-year-old, but maybe the kidneys of a 60-year-old.
And if you've had a rough decade, maybe the liver of an 80-year-old.
Exactly. We don't age as one unit. Our organs are running on totally different clocks.
And that's exactly what we're getting into today. We're doing a deep dive into three really specific frontiers of longevity science. And I want to be clear, this is not your usual eat more blueberries advice.
Not even close. We're looking at hard mechanisms. We've got the Landsteiner lecture from Tony Wace-Corey on how our blood can basically predict organ health.
We also have the latest updates from the Trimex trial from Dr. Greg Fahey.
Which is, arguably the only protocol actually proving we can regrow a vital organ in humans.
And then there's this fascinating 2025 paper from Huang and colleagues that suggests the master switch for aging might be, of all things, a diabetes drug and a tiny part of the brain.
It's a dense stack. You've got measurement, regeneration, and then signaling.
So our mission is to see how these three fit together. How do we read the clock? How do we turn it back? And who's actually in control of the time?
Let's start with reading it. Wace-Corey.
Right. He calls blood a magic fluid, which, I don't know, sounds a bit medieval.
It does, yeah. But the logic behind it is actually pretty sound.
Okay.
Think of it like plumbing. Right. Blood flows through every single tissue in your body. It goes to the brain, the liver, the heart.
Everywhere.
Everywhere. And as it passes through, it picks up little bits of debris proteins, to be specific. Wace-Corey calls them breadcrumbs.
So it's a liquid biopsy.
Yeah.
You analyze the blood. You're basically reading the diary of every organ it's just visited.
Precisely. And this is where the tech has really leaped forward. His team used machine learning to analyze thousands of these proteins. And by tracing them back to where they came from, they created what they call organ clocks.
This is the part that really floored me, the mismatch. You can look at someone and say, okay, you're 50, but your heart is 40? Great.
Right.
But they found the opposite is often true, especially with the brain.
Exactly. In this huge study, I think it was 50,000 people from the UK Biobank, they found that having an accelerated brain age.
So your brain proteins look older than you are.
Right. It was, of course, a strong predictor for Alzheimer's. No surprise there.
So that makes sense.
But here's the kicker. An accelerated brain age was the strongest predictor of overall mortality.
Wait, hold on. So even if my heart is young, my lungs are clear. If my brain is old on a molecular level, I'm more likely to die from.
Yeah, correct. It suggests the brain isn't just sitting there. It's the master integrator. If the brain's resilience goes down, the whole system becomes fragile. It's like the central processor is predicting a total system failure.
That is slightly terrifying.
Yeah.
But it really puts a premium on brain health. Now, another thing from Wace-Corey that really challenges this idea of linear aging is this concept of waves.
Oh, this is fascinating. We all assume we age a tiny bit every day, like a slow leak in a tire.
Yeah.
The data says no. The protein changes in our blood, they happen in these massive, distinct shifts. They found 3 main waves, one around age 34, another around 60, and a final one around 78.
34 seems so young for a massive aging spike. I mean, most people feel pretty good at 34.
They do, but Wace-Corey speculates it's evolutionary. Historically, we just needed to last long enough to reproduce. By your mid-30s, you've kind of done your genetic duty.
So the body's warranty just expires.
The maintenance programs just switch off. Nature basically says, good luck, you're on your own now.
Wow. And this all leads to the, let's call them the Dracula experiments. I know the scientific term is parabiosis, but stitching mice together, it's just wild.
It is gruesome, but you can't argue with the results. They stitch an old mouse to a young mouse, they share a circulatory system, and the old mouse's brain physically rejuvenates.
So younger.
More neural connections, better memory, less inflammation. It's a profound effect.
Okay, but here's my question. Is it that the young blood has some, magic molecule in it? Or is it just diluting all the bad stuff, the poison in the old blood?
That's the billion-dollar question, and the answer seems to be both. but it's leaning towards the whole environment.
The cocktail, as you said.
Right. Old blood is full of inflammatory factors, these aging signals. Young blood dilutes them, sure, but it also provides a new set of resilience factors. You're changing the entire bathwater the cells are swimming in.
So if you clean up the environment, the blood, the cells just remember how to be young again.
That seems to be the idea. And Wiscori points out, 30% of people who live to 100 have completely intact cognition. Their brains didn't age at the same rate. The goal is to find that protein signature of resilience and bottle it.
Bottling resilience. I like that. But let's pivot from measuring to rebuilding. Our next source, Dr. Greg Fahey in the Thymus trial, is all about that. And he's focused on an organ I think most of us forget we even have. The thymus.
You and most people. It's so crucial, though. The thymus sits right behind your breastbone. It's basically the boot camp for your T cells.
The special forces of your immune system.
Exactly. But here's the problem. It retires super early. It starts shrinking involuting at puberty.
At puberty.
Yeah, by the time you're 60, it's mostly just a lump of fat. T-cell production collapses. And Fay points out this collapse tracks perfectly with the exponential rise in cancer risk and infectious disease deaths as you get older. You lose your defense shield.
So Fay's question is simple. Can we grow it back? But his method is.
Yeah.
It's a little controversial in the longevity space, isn't it?
Very. Most of the field is focused on slowing down. Things like calorie restriction or the drug rapamycin. The idea is to inhibit a pathway called mTOR.
The famine mode.
Exactly. You tell the body, hunker down, conserve resources, don't grow. But Faye says, hang on. If your thymus is already withered away, conserving it does nothing. You have to rebuild. And to build anything, you need a growth signal.
Which is where he uses growth hormone.
Recombinant human growth hormone, yeah.
Okay, that sets off some alarm bells.
Right.
I mean, doesn't growth hormone cause insulin resistance or even increase cancer risk? Bodybuilders use this stuff, and they aren't exactly paragons of longevity.
And that's the genius of his Thymus cocktail. He doesn't just give growth hormone on its own. He combines it with DHEA and metformin.
Okay, so walk me through the logic there.
It's a checks and balances system. The growth hormone is the engine. It regenerates the tissue. But to prevent the side effects like insulin resistance, he adds metformin.
Which helps your body handle insulin better.
Right. And DHEA is in there to support the whole hormonal system. It's a synergistic triangle.
So does it actually work? We have the Thymus update. What are the results?
The results are pretty startling. First, on the molecular level, epigenetic age reversal. The participants' biological clocks, things like Grimmage and Dundon pace, they actually ran backward.
They got biologically younger during the trial.
Yes, but were there changes they could actually feel?
That's what I want to know.
Oh, yeah. Fakey told this story of an 81-year-old participant. After the protocol, the guy started running 5Ks. Not just running them, but beating his own previous records.
At 81.
At 81. But the stat that really blew my mind was the VO2 max data. They saw a roughly 26% increase in VO2 max across the group.
And for anyone listening, VO2 max is basically your aerobic fitness ceiling. Yeah. A 26% increase that's insane. You need to train like an Olympian to get that kind of jump.
And these people didn't change their exercise routines. This suggests that rebuilding the immune system, or maybe the whole cocktail, is rejuvenating the entire metabolic engine.
We have to mention the hair thing. I know it's just an anecdote, but...
It's a fun one. He reported hair repigmentation, so gray hair turning dark again, and not just on the head, that 81-year-old apparently had dark body hair growing back.
Okay, if I can get my hair color back and run a 5K at 80, I am listening. But safety is the big elephant in the room here.
Absolutely. This is not a supplement. Growth hormone is powerful. Faye was very clear about side effects, joint pain, fluid retention. It requires very precise medical monitoring.
Right. Not a garage biohack.
Yeah.
But the takeaway is huge. We can potentially regrow an organ we all thought was gone for good.
And in doing so, maybe we reset the body's clock, but that raises the question of coordination. Who's giving the orders?
Which brings us perfectly to our third source. This 2025 paper by Huang et al. On the brain-body axis. This feels like the bridge.
It really is, and it's all about a class of drugs everyone's heard of now, GLP-1 receptor agonists.
Like exenatide or semaglutide, the weight loss drugs.
The very same. But forget weight loss. In this study, they gave exenatide to old mice, like 18-month-old mice. And these old guys basically got superpowers.
Define superpowers.
Better grip strength, better coordination, better heart function. But here's the really critical part. It only worked on the old mice.
So if you give it to a young mouse, Nothing happens.
They just stay young. It suggests the drug isn't a performance enhancer like a steroid. It's a restorative. It's fixing something that broke with age.
So how does it work? Is it just about processing sugar better?
That was the obvious assumption. But when they looked at the molecular signature, the gene expression, the GLP-1 treatment, looked almost identical to rapamycin.
Hang on. We just said rapamycin is the slow-down conserved drug. Why would a diabetes drug mimic that?
That's the aha moment. So Huang's team did this brilliant experiment. They used a virus to delete the GLP-1 receptors, but only in the hypothalamus of the brain.
So the body can still see the drug, the muscles, the liver, but the brain's control center is blind to it.
Precisely.
Right.
And when they did that, poof, the anti-aging effects mostly disappeared. The improvements in the heart, the muscle, the blood, gone.
That's a huge finding. So you're saying for the drug to heal the muscle, it has to talk to the brain first.
Yes. It implies the hypothalamus is the conductor of the whole aging orchestra. You stimulate it with GLP-1, and it sends out a signal, maybe hormonal, maybe through the nervous system, telling the entire body, time to repair, slow down the aging process.
It's like the brain has a maintenance mode switch that gets stuck in the off position as we get older. The drug just flips it back on.
That is a perfect analogy. It completely reframes aging from just wear and tear to command failure. The tissues aren't just wearing out, they're waiting for orders that never arrive.
This connects right back to Corey. He said the brain predicts mortality. This paper says the brain might actually control the rate of aging.
Exactly. So let's try to put this all together. We've got these three really different angles. Corey gives us the dashboard, the blood signals.
Faye gives us the hardware replacement, a new thymus.
And Huang gives us the software update rebooting the hypothalamus.
It's a powerful combination. And it really speaks to that conflict we mentioned, the build-up versus slow-down idea.
Right, because Faye wants to rev the engine with growth hormone, but Huang's work suggests we need to mimic rapamycin, which is the brake. You can't do both at once.
So what's the answer?
The answer is probably that biology hates extremes. Constant growth leads to cancer. Constant inhibition leads to wasting away. The future of longevity probably isn't one single pill. It's a schedule.
A protocol. Like a cycle.
Exactly. You can imagine a future where, say, January is your anabolic phase. You use a Fahey-like protocol to regrow the thymus, build muscle.
And then February is your catabolic phase.
Right. You use a GLP-1 or rapamycin to clear out cellular junk and reset the brain's signaling. A time to build and a time to clean. It just makes intuitive sense. We evolved with seasons of feast and famine.
We've just flattened our lives into this constant state of fed, and our biology is confused.
These interventions might just be a way to artificially reintroduce those necessary rhythms.
It also changes the whole game from sick care to actual health care. We wait for the heart attack, then we treat the heart.
But Corey's work suggests we could see the heart aging 20 years before the attack. Fahey and Hong give us the tools to maybe step in then, not later. It's about managing a trajectory, not just treating a disease.
So before we wrap up, I have a thought experiment based on everything we've talked about. We established the brain seems to control the body's aging rate from Huang's paper.
Right.
But we also establish that factors in the blood can rejuvenate the brain from Corey's work.
I see where you're going with this. It's a loop.
It's a loop. If you can keep the brain young by cleaning up the blood, does the brain then tell the body to keep the blood young?
Theoretically, yes. If you can jumpstart that engine, clean the blood to save the brain, which then signals the body to keep cleaning the blood, you could create a positive feedback loop.
A kind of biological perpetual motion?
It's the ultimate goal, isn't it? We are a long way from there, and the complexity is staggering, but for the first time, it feels like we have the mechanical parts laid out on the table. Now we just need to figure out the assembly manual.
Well, while they work on the manual, I think I'm going to go for a run, get my VO2 max up, and maybe see if my driver's license needs a disclaimer.
Good luck with that.
Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive. Think about which of your organ clocks might be ticking the fastest and what you're going to do about it. We'll catch you next time.